following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome to the MorganMan Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Cole Morgan. Here on the MorganMan Sports Podcast, we talk Atlanta Falcons news, pre-game predictions, and all other news surrounding the Atlanta Falcons.
Touchdown, Atlanta!
Also on the podcast, we talk Call of Duty League, esports, covering Roster Mania, major predictions, COD champs, player trades, and much more to get you ready for every single CDL weekend.
Scuff goes through, and Scuff snaps, wins the one-on-one in optic with the reverse sweep.
If that sounds good with you, put on your Falcons jersey, grab your gaming headset, and let's get this show started. What is going on, you guys? I'm your host, Stacy Cole Morgan, and you're listening to the MorganMan Sports Podcast here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the updated list of the free agency tracker for the Atlanta Falcons in this 2025-26 NFL offseason, and we are talking about the Call of Duty League 2025 Major 2 tournament happening today, this Thursday, the time you're hearing this podcast. And guys, let me tell you, it's going to be a good one. So without any further delay, let's go get straight into today's action. All right, guys, so we are going to get the Atlanta Falcons news out of the way first. And we are starting off with the newest signing of Falcons signee of defensive lineman Morgan Fox coming from the Los Angeles Chargers. Defensive lineman Morgan Fox has recorded 15.5 sacks in his last 3 seasons with the Chargers. That averages about 5.1 sacks per season for Morgan Fox coming from the Los Angeles Chargers. Next would be the linebacker Devon Diablo, if I'm pronouncing that right, from the Los Angeles Raiders, or the LA Raiders if you want to put it for short. Former third-round pick, has started for the Raiders in some capacity since joining the NFL in 2021. The Falcons do pick up cornerback Keith Taylor from the Kansas City Chiefs. He spent the 2024 season with, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. Really ain't heard much out of his news right here. The biggest signing so far in this free agency market is Leonard Floyd, coming from the San Francisco 49ers on a 1-year deal. And he did record 8.5 sacks in the 2024 season. And he is our edge rusher for the season. And the Falcons are re-signing tackle Storm Norton, offensive lineman. The 2025 season will mark Storm Norton's 7th season in the NFL and his 3rd in Atlanta. So definitely, guys, there's plenty of more moves right here. We did re-sign Mike Hughes. The cornerback came to Atlanta on a 2-year deal in 2023 and became a starter in 2024. Of course, missed the 2025 season. And now here we are going into, well, you want to say like 24 through 25 season, but then is going to be re-signing with the Atlanta Falcons in the 25 and 26 season. So definitely a lot of great moves right here. We are re-signing veteran tackle Brandon Parker. So definitely that's a good signee right there. Of course, re-signing tackle Storm Norton. And so definitely, yeah, the 2 biggest names is Mike Hughes and Leonard Floyd coming from the San Francisco 49ers. Definitely, I'm excited to see that. But this has honestly been a lackluster kind of free agency for Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris. So I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do in the draft, which just, gosh, at least 6 weeks, 7 weeks away. So I'm definitely interested in see what's going to happen there. So now, guys, we are going to switch on over to the Call of Duty League side of things right here. So obviously, it is today, Thursday, the time you are hearing this, and the Atlanta FaZe will be starting things off against the Minnesota Rocker this weekend. And guys, let me tell you, it's going to be a good one. I'm actually opening up the major bracket right now for basically all the teams. Apply the filter. Dang it, I'll just have to refresh my internet page right here. Here we go, the brackets. Ladies and gentlemen, and the bracket does consist of the Los Angeles Thieves taking on the Boston Breach, Royal Ravens taking on Vancouver Surge, FaZe versus Rocker, and Ultra versus Cloud9. And for your elimination round 1, Miami Heretics, Team Falcons, or Vegas Falcons if you want to say, Texas Optic Texas, same thing, and the Los Angeles Gorillas M8. So that is your starting bracket for winners round 1 and elimination round 1. So obviously my pick is Atlanta FaZe going forward in this one right here. If you look at the Minnesota Rocker, they are 3-4 in the Major 2 online qualifiers, and while Atlanta FaZe is 6-1, with their only loss coming to the Vancouver Surge back at the minor tournaments. So the rest of the bracket right here, guys, if I'm looking at this right, I could see FaZe and Thieves being in the winners finals again from the Major 1 tournaments. I could really see that, but FaZe would definitely have to get past Vancouver Surge. I'm so used to being Seattle, but Vancouver Surge, I would believe Atlanta FaZe would have to get through them now in order to really secure a winner's final bracket against the Los Angeles Thieves. So we are on that bottom half of the winner's bracket, so that definitely does make things a little bit more better. And so we'll have to wait and see. And thankfully, Surge is on that top half. So if we do have to face Surge at any given point, it would be in at least the winners finals to going on to the grand finals. That would be my situation right there for Surge. But their kryptonite right now is the Los Angeles Thieves, who really hasn't lost a match in the Major 2 qualifier standings, going 7-0. And in second place, right in behind Atlanta FaZe with overall CDL points sitting at 225 with an 18-5 win-loss ratio. So Atlanta FaZe definitely needs to step their game up because the Los Angeles Thieves are coming, and they're coming in hot for that number 1 spot, which I know it don't make a whole lot of sense for you to have the number 1 spot and not get a bye or some sort of like early advantage, or whatever the case may be. Which nowadays, having the bye really, it's not beneficial like it used to be. A lot of teams gather momentum off of like playing games back to back to back instead of having those rest periods, because those rest periods you tend to get a little lazy, okay? And I feel like that's what kind of happened with the Chiefs during the Super Bowl. They had that bye, and boom, they barely even won their games, and then once they got to the Super Bowl against the Eagles, boom, they lose like tremendously, like 44 to 26, 25, right in there. So definitely not a good look. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, if I have to pick a winner, I definitely am picking FaZe, like always. Runner-up would be Los Angeles Thieves. Third place would be Seattle Surge. And for fourth place, I'm going to really give it to the Royal Ravens. I think the Royal Ravens has shown that they can stay consistent with Slasher on that team. I definitely think that he's found a home there, and they could really do some damage this weekend. So that would be my top 4 finishing out the Major 2 tournament. And of course, they will have a bye week going into effect after this tournament right here. And so it will definitely be something to look out forward to. And then we won't see no action until April 4th with the Miami Heretics Major 3 qualifiers and tournament. Now, there won't be no minor tournaments, no nothing like that. This tournament right here was the finals of the minors. Me personally, I don't like the minor tournaments I feel like it's just a glorified like major tournament, but it's just online. Just stick with the online format if you want to, but just get rid of the minor tournament because there's no point of having basically 2 tournaments in one like major. The minor one and major one, and minor 2 tournament and major 2 tournament. It's just a lot of tournaments that's unnecessary. I think your major 1 through 4, and then of course college champs, and then conclude your season, prep for a few weeks, go into the Esports World Cup, which by the way, here within June, July-ish, right in there. I know for June, specifically for the CDL World Championship, I will be live streaming that on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page. So definitely, guys, make sure you are checking that out. And of course, I will be live streaming and doing like a super show for the Esports World Cup, specifically for the Call of Duty League. So again, overall, guys, winner Atlanta FaZe, runner-up is the Los Angeles Thieves. The Atlanta Falcons definitely do make some good progress in the free agency market. They finally did sign a few people, but it took them a while. But biggest signing was Leonard Floyd and Mike Hughes. But other than that, this free agency wasn't spectacular for the Atlanta Falcons. So hopefully we can have a spectacular NFL draft that will be coming up in about 6 weeks or so. But guys, I sure hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like button wherever you are listening from, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your preferred podcast. And I, Stacy Cole Morgan, will catch you all later. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.